Be aware. Okay. Like people to not know they're underage.
Hello. Right there. Ha. Hello. Thank you guys.
I'm gonna put these over before we get going.
Okay. Can you guys I wonder if you guys aren't cooperating today?
No. Yeah, it's just like what? So it's just like right.
It's supposed to start till 8.
Well, it's 5.
Since I'm telling everybody, because I just tomorrow I'm taking the bank.
Right? 5.
Yeah, I was gonna buy one. I might have to get much.
I don't expect you to know. It's a couple of
I mean, the only reason to get to is the best.
Facebook live stream now.
So don't think. Yeah, some cool. Cool. Can you text that to me, Bob? Oh,
Can't ever get the slap right though.
Slap is.
No, I wish I had. Yeah, he's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. He's outrageous.
Shreds base faster than most people shred guitar.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, don't forget.
For sure.
Language? What's that? It's
Your language is great, so long as you don't swear.
well, I think I think the content matters a little bit.
We've had people snap shit with us.
Yeah.
Recordings fucked up. I was recording some shit the other day, so it's not fair. Just need to do everything.
Yeah. The silver one? Is that it?
It's just a pitch shifter that also has delay.
Oh,
It's pretty wild.
It's like okay.
This is WOMM LP operating out of Burlington, Vermont. One Radiator. I'm your host for this evening, Tom Proctor. I want to talk about the Make Music VT. It is an international festival that's happening in 120 countries, and it's happening on June 21st. The general idea is you get out, you play music at a random place with random people. It's a come all music festival, and you can be one of the musicians on the bill and even sign up for your home each. So you can find out more information and sign up at bigheavyworld.com/makemusic. It'll be pretty amazing, and even if you don't want to play, you can go and see some pretty fantastic spots around town where great music will be happening. So now back to our regularly scheduled program. It's a Rocket Shop. Good evening, and with me tonight it is Ian Steinberg.
Awesome.
Well, we usually kick it off with a song. So you guys want to introduce what you've got and take it away?
Yeah, well, I just released an album yesterday. It's called Guidance, and we're going to play the eponymous song off that Guidance. That's what eponymous means. I can't see my eyes up off the ground. Every fork leads I've been before. Tell me, stranger, how do I pick the rubber from? Their direction,
So good already then. What does it join?
Yeah.
Thankful song, and so that was the. Let me just get Eponymous. So close.
Yeah.
Song. So I had a little look at the bio of that, and I listened to a few songs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a lot to say on this record. So, few themes you have on the album.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the overarching aspect of the album is like it's an oral of my experience going into and working. And I would say that I'm in a much better place right now, which is wonderful. But I wouldn't say I'm out. You know, it's kind of each of the songs is an experience kind of manifested in, whether or not they're like actual experiences of family, or even a sense of kind of the root of it.
So does each have a particular, or is it all kind of an overarching look at the experiences you've had with that?
Certain songs are definitely like there's a track that we're gonna play called "And Now," which is about one of my good friends who had a nose, and now that was a tough experience, and that's like and is kind of carried through that. Then there are other songs on the album "Bad Luck." It isn't any direct experience of mine. It's a feeling of like being down through the lens of like a story I made up. So there are some things, and then there's like in between tracks, like little interludes, like Poppy's Last Message, which is literally Grandpa Poppy, and or Fati reading from the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but moves all over the place. But I feel like there is an overarching theme, but each song kind of like touches on its own little thing. If you listen to it, you can experience the connection between each one and kind of the path that it follows. But yeah. And
well, I thought you were coming solo tonight. You got the rest of your band with you, or a selection of you.
We got Dane Duffy right here on electric and lead guitar, and then this is Lucas Tavshi on bass.
Lucas, we've had it a few times now.
He's prolific in the area.
And I've got to say, it was a beautiful guitar solo.
Thanks.
How do you guys kind of come together and craft the band songs as one, or do you kind of compose the whole thing to get on your own?
Well, the album itself, I worked on almost entirely on my own in my bedroom, so almost all minus the drums are. So when I had Dane and Lucas join me, I was kind of like, here are these parts, but also, you know, here's what I did, but also you can do something cool with it. And I like to think that they made it much better. And also, it's nice to give a different experience live than, you know, listening to the album itself.
And you mentioned on your site that this is your debut indie folk album. And your first experience creating a full studio album. So how did this differ from your previous records?
Well, I only have one other EP out, and that was done when I was in college. It was a full band thing. I recorded it with my friend in Dead Shakers. I don't know if you know them, but they're a band in the area. And I'd say it's different because those songs were kind of just like, here are some songs that I wrote, and they're on an EP. Fleshed out, thought out, like embodiment and who I am as a person and a musician, I'd say. Yeah.
Why was now the time for start kind of putting this together and the idea kind of formulate and tell me the journey from conception to
so I was working on it. I used to live in California and I was doing a bunch of demos. I had a lot of these songs written, like some of these songs I wrote in high school, so they've been simmering under the surface for, you know, almost a decade now. And I put all these demos together and I thought would be, you know, what would go well together, and there were like 20 songs and like I trashed a bunch of them and maybe I'll save some for another time. But as I was in California and leaving there, I was kind of having this really intense experience, and the way it manifested when I came back, it's like I attached myself more to them, and then as I like whittled it to kind of what it is today in terms of concept and the journey that I was talking about and those experiences. So Yeah, and one of the songs, "Honey, Won't You Come Back Home," I wrote last year while I was already recording some of the other stuff, and I was on, like, so it's kind of taken from all points of my life, which I think is kind of accurate for what I'm trying to represent, because it's kind of like,
And you're a sound engineer yourself, so did you put the album? Did you master the whole thing yourself?
All the writing, recording, producing, mixing. My friend Millman, he did all the mastering, and the drums were recorded by my friend Isaac, who also plays the drums. So I didn't do that part, but yeah, everything else was me. So it was just me in my bedroom with, my KM184 and my computer and a couple other instruments, just doing the whole thing.
Is it easier to record in where where the kitchen is, you can go grab yourself a cup of coffee when you need it, and you've got as much time as you like to kind of ruminate on what you're creating, or does that actually make things harder so you can end up procrastinating forever?
Yes.
all of the above.
It's all of the above for sure. I love working, kind of getting in my own head and being able to really take a lot of the harmonies on there were just me looping and looping and looping for like an hour or 2 hours, whatever, just singing into the mic and grabbing what I liked. Times like when I was mixing a year and I was like, I'm gonna go insane off this to this song 40 million times. I need So it's a for sure, but I at a certain point I said, this is when I want to have it done, this is when the release is going to be, and that putting a time constraint on my push it through the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any significance to the date you picked in the end?
Happened to be convenient. The release date doesn't really have, but
Fair enough.
yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear another song.
Yeah.
Is it going to be another one from the new album?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Cool. Guitar junkies listening, this is an open C with a capo on the 4th fret. That's CG, CE. Oh, okay. The truth will set you free, but only it's done with you. That spider, it snatch it up from you. Your arthritic movements caught up in narcotic truancy, advantage of our social fluency. And now your permission. Cross that shoulder, picked up on the point of silky rubber
Steinberg. And I was just kind of of opinion, and they are relatively abstract as lyrics go. So how do you create a song? Is it do you kind of pick up, you know, in the supermarket and just write them down, or is it a kind of case of deliberately sitting down somewhere and really?
Yeah, there have been certain points, like Guidance is a pretty good thing you said, where I just sat down. I actually couldn't sleep at night and morning, and then just wrote the whole thing, like more or less, not basically wrote out all the lyrics. That song in particular to be about, like the loss of my friend, and I kind of workshopped some lyrics, but actually some, like, the truth will set you free, but only once, or the things that happen don't require your permission. Those lines are actually taken. This is gonna be from Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace, and then like built a song like a little bit around that. But then the second two verses are all kind of things that I wanted to follow through on. Experience at the funeral, and the third verse, like the forced perspective in a rectangle of sky, like mad looking up from the inside of the lone in dirt, like shoveling dirt into the thing, and then like I am a man, at least in sentimental value, strapped into your pine box, power shivered into, reconciling myself with the experience. So there's things like that. I'll just find a nice guitar riff I like or something, and I'll play along with that and kind of just all stuff around, you know, see what comes. Or yeah, sometimes it's like, out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, that's a thought. Usually it goes in the garbage bin, but you know,
Yeah.
gotta pull from somewhere, right?
So you're the sort of person who's kind of half write a song and then not to force it and leave it for a few weeks, years, and then come back to it.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the time, I have workshopping inspiration, so to speak. Like I don't have a regular scheduled thing where I sit down and like, which I should probably be a little more disciplined at, but you know, we all have our faults. And I'd say that, I start them off. I always this is what happens most frequently is I'll be like, yeah, sweet. And a second verse and kind of a chorus, and then I'll leave it. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, this is sick, and I'll play that over and over again, but I can't push past that. And that's really frustrating, but it's a part of it. And sometimes I go back. Sometimes it's been years, sometimes it's been days. It's different for each song.
And you somewhat classically trained. You went to a conservatory.
Yeah, Ithaca College engineering there, and part of their curriculum was classical guitar, so I had to do the whole thing, you know.
And how's that shaped the way that you write?
Well, I don't know if the conservatory shaped me too much, other than the fact that I learned that I really didn't like playing classical guitar. But it definitely it made me a better discipline to sit down and practice for 2 hours. My first, time the first music I really listened to was classical piano, and that's kind of shaped my sense of harmony and, or at least I think it has, other than like folk music. Be a little more interesting and dynamic than just like GCD. Or at least I hope that I do. That's okay too. But like Chopin and Debussy and all those kind of like really, what's the word for it? I can't remember the scale that Debussy uses all the time, but using just only whole tones. Anyway, oh, there you go. So like that kind of thing, working in those interesting harmonies, I think, like a part of me, and reflects hopefully a little bit.
I've been like creating music for the scene since 2013. So where have you got musically that you're in that's been slightly unexpected, but surprising in a good or a bad way? And where are you still trying to strive for?
Well, I'm always trying to, play more shows and get more involved in the community, and it really helps to have the band for sure, these folks. And I'd say like in terms of long-term goals, it's like see how far we can go if we can. I'm not trying to be like Taylor Swift or anything, but it'd be cool not have to have a day job. Like that would be sweet. But and I'm not really like pushing on myself too hard. Like I'm doing the work, you know, I'm throwing out the booking stuff, like doing the press releases and whatnot, but I definitely, you know, I'm not like every time I don't hear back from a, you know, a talent buyer or something like that. But yeah, being in the scene has been really rewarding. What I love about Burlington a lot, especially compared to California, community, people look out for each other and work a lot together and support each other. It's not a competitive scene, it's a supporting scene, which is so nice. It's the Bay Area and feeling like I had to like chew and gnaw and, you know, scrabble around for a spot anywhere. So yeah.
Kind of brings me to my next question, actually. You say you've been influenced by people like Dr. Dog and plastic folk indie bands and singer-songwriter, but locally, who are your influences in the music that you create?
Oh wow. I really love A Box of Stars. They're actually good friends of mine, Macaulay and Claire and Jens. Jens actually plays on the album from that. They're super influential folk. I really like the Dead Shakers, the way that Kevin Bloom shapes like soundscapes and stuff is really interesting to me and something in my music. Honey and Soul is phenomenal. It's a trio of ladies who are absolutely wonderful. Cello, guitar, and piano, and their harmonies are like disgustingly beautiful. It's really like hard to not like well up with emotion when I listen to them. And they're like those are all people I really respect and kind of try in the area. And there's a ton of other bands I love, like Lucas's bands, Winona and Voices, necessarily incorporate like punk or metal into my music, but it's something like that high energy stuff like definitely is like supporting and that kind of thing.
We've had Box of Stars and Honey and Soul in here, so yeah, it was fantastic having them.
Yeah.
Honey and Soul actually, Julia from there played in my roommate's band, so
cool.
I've got to see her a few times now, which is fun. And you'll probably see them pop up on the at some point. Oh, you'll be up there next week because the people who do actually listen, we've got a revolving picture book of on in the corner of the studio.
Oh yeah, there's Jeff. I think that's House, but
yeah.
He used to be in Bear and those folks, so I play the guitar for him. But
we'll hopefully get in the next few weeks as well.
Yeah, Bob. We'll have to.
He'll be up.
Yeah.
The last question, actually. The album was released yesterday, so thank you so much for coming in to here to promote it on the second day that it's been released.
Yeah.
What are you doing in terms of a release party, and what else are you doing to promote any tours, gigs, anything you're doing to get yourself out there?
Yeah, this Friday actually is a potluck / concert / CD release show / party at my house. I'm not going to say that, but if you want to like reach out to me on social media and want to come, that would be sweet. But it's going to be us, A Box of Stars, Bear's Tapestry, and a potluck and a party.
That sounds like it's going to be a wonderfully chill party.
It'll be a good time.
Wonderfully chill people.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll get rowdy once, you know. Maybe not for my neighbors, but and then we don't have any tours planned right now. We have a bunch of gigs coming up in July at Sidebar, July 27th, I think, at Tap 25, July 28th at Farmhouse. There's a somewhere, I'm sure, but I'm just not remembering off the top of my head. Just off your head.
18th and 19th, right?
18th and 19th?
Somewhere.
Yeah, 18th and 19th somewhere. August? Is that
July.
August?
I think that's July too. I think it's July,
okay.
July.
Now would be a good time to plug any gigs you have that may have all these dates on them.
Oh yeah, website iansteinbergmusic.com, and then you can find me on Instagram, Ian J. Steinberg, Twitter, Ian J. Steinberg, Facebook.com / Ian Steinberg Music, yada yada yada, Spotify, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, etc. Yeah.
On all the relevant ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'd love to hear one last song before you to play us out. What have you?
Honey, won't you come back home? I just have to tune back to Standard real quick, so sorry you have to listen to that on the air. It's an unfortunate necessity.
I feel like the others have heard it before.
Oh no, definitely not. What is the difference between a cat and a comma?
I'm not sure what's the difference.
One has claws at the end of its paws, and the other is a pause at the end of it.
Who doesn't love a good grammar joke?
There are other, I guess, like spoonerisms like that, but oh man. Dane's still learning the songs. I'm just kidding, but thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, and yeah, it's been wonderful having you. And well, maybe I'll find out where the party is on Friday and come see you, all you fantastic people this week.
Yeah, that'd be great. So this is Honey, Won't You Come Back Home? Honey, won't you come back home? I really miss it.
And best of luck with the new album, honestly. I've already given it a listen, it sounds fantastic, and
Awesome.
wish you, yeah, all the best.
Thanks so much, Tom. Thanks, everyone.
And next week we've got Larry making a return to Big Heavy World to talk about Make Music VT, that wonderful festival that I was talking about earlier on today. So catch me next Wednesday. I've been your host, Tom Proctor. This has been Big Heavy World, and ciao for now. Cool, cheers guys.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Had a good time. Sorry I hogged the mic the whole time.
No, it's fine.
I mean, that's
It's not called the Dane and Luke thing.
Well, I appreciate your support and for helping me out so much. You guys are the best.
Nice to meet you. See you around. See you soon.
As soon as I clicked off the
Oh, still pissing it down.
just got so loud.